Hey, good morning, guys. This is a breakdown demo of the install I did on this Watto's Junkyard in Phoenix Props Grand Inquisitor saber. Normally I do this right here in front of the camera, but there's a lot of stuff going on this guy, so what I'm going to do is switch over to a bird's eye view of my desk so that we can break this down and go over everything. All right, so here we go. All right, so I wanted to do this over my desk because it's just way too much stuff to do in front of a camera. This is, of course, the Watto's Junkyard and Phoenix Props Grand Inquisitor saber. This particular chassis was designed for Randy at Corbanth, and Randy had asked for a crystal. So we're going to start with the chassis outside of the saber, and we could just talk about it real quick. All right, so we've got our crystal chamber right here. This particular one is printed in a red carbon fiber. Not sure what he'll be doing, but if I do any of these, it'll be in some variation of a carbon fiber color, red or black or gray, I think I have as well. But you've got your crystal chamber right here. It has its own Neopixel accent. Each side has a 7-pin PCB connector, so one right here and one right here. We'll go over why. Your Proffie board is right here. So this is a snap fit down into the shelf, though it can be glued because everything is accessed from right here. So SD card, micro USB slot, everything like that. All right, and then there's a kill switch right in front of the board. Flipping it over, you have a removable battery. So this takes an 18650 battery, a protected cell. This is a keep power battery, even though I have the sticker off of it, which I do suggest sometimes taking the sticker off. All right, you don't have to, but it does fit in there a little bit nicer without it. This is a 28mm Smuggler's Outpost Elite speaker. So it is fit in there in an angle. There are several holes along the chassis right here, as well as slots on this side for sound venting. And as you can tell, there aren't any over here. All right, so we'll talk about the sound venting. It is a 2-button setup. So this one over here will be auxiliary, and then the one over here will be power, and we'll fire that up here in a second and show you how that works. All right, so that's the main chassis, and when it's inside the saber, it sits right there. So it's actuated, you know, by this plunger right here and this plunger right here. They actuate these two switches, and it can only go in one way. That's why this entire chassis is slotted. All right, as far as these go, had to have a way to fit this inside of this main piece, and we'll take this main piece off real quick. For the sake of this demo, I didn't tighten it down all the way because they are pretty tough in there when you get this all assembled. So I didn't assemble it, I didn't screw it down all the way because I don't have a strap wrench up here. But basically what you would do is just come over here and take each of these off first. All right, these are of course the emitter sleeves that hide also your blade retentions, which I have the blade retention screws over here that I haven't put in yet. We'll come over here and we'll take this one off as well. All right, we got both of those off. Now, one at a time, you want to take these and unscrew them. If you have them screwed down all the way, you will probably need a strap wrench or something. There's a rubber O-ring in this area right here that locks everything down and keeps everything from wobbling. So we'll just loosen this guy up. Might take me a few minutes. I'm not going to cut any of this out of the video just so that, you know, you get kind of like a real-time feel of what this takes to get out of here. So when you unscrew it, you'll feel it is tight. Just wiggle it back and forth, it'll come out of there. So that's one side. All right, we're going to come over here and we'll do the same to the other side. All right, so this one might be a little bit easier. Instead of untwisting this guy, you can just untwist this guy. But you will need to untwist this a little bit. You can kind of like work the two, all right? Because this now freely spins, as you can see. All right, so we'll unscrew this side. We'll kind of pull that out. Put that off to the side, and now we can take the middle part and we can lift it right out. All right, make sure everything's tight in there. We can lift it right out. I'm going to get rid of this ring for now. It is just aesthetic. And and this is what we've got. So if you look closely on this side right here, you'll notice the holes. These are holes for sound venting. You get 2 of these in your kit, and then you get 2 of these. These are static pieces. So what I did was I put 1 static piece over here because this is the side that doesn't have the speaker. And then of course I put the vented one over here because this is the side with the speaker. So you can do whatever you like there. But also know that it's the side with the speaker that comes out of the housing. All right, so that's a good way to tell also. So we're just gonna go ahead and unscrew this piece. Take this out. And if you can look in there, it's a little hard to see in there. You might be able to see it right there. But this piece right here and this piece right here, they've been glued in now, which they get glued in when you get this kit. But they do stick into the socket a little bit. All right, and that is what rides into the channel that's been put onto the chassis. So this chassis only goes in one way. If you were to try to put it in, you know, like this, you're not going to get very far. You're going to get about that far. And you turn this until you got this piece lined up with these pieces, and then all of a sudden your chassis goes all the way in. All right, so it only goes in a particular way. So when you're sliding it in, you can tell, you know, this piece, this side over here that's got this slot that goes all the way through it, it needs to go in first because, you know, the orientation counts is what I'm saying. If you try to flip it around, it's not going to go in, right? So hopefully that makes sense. So let's talk about the emitters real quick before we put the handle on, or let's just slide this on before we put a battery in, and we'll talk about the emitters. So when you have this all in, then you take your piece and you screw it down, and everything is nice and tight, right? You can see your 7-pin PCB right there, and you've got another 7-pin PCB right here. When you take these final ones and you put this in the ring and then you lock it down with this guy, this will screw on and it will lock down all the way. And so will this one right over here. I'm just not going to do it right now. That's why I made these pieces separately. So 1, we could fit this into the ring and not worry about length, right? And then 2, it's a single board. The power and the auxiliary buttons, they control both blades at the same time. So you take this piece and you just simply slide it in. All right, and you slide it in right there. Careful, but when you get it right, it goes all the way down. You could feel it bounce with your finger. You lock this piece down with either the blade plug. You can take your blade plug in. It's safe to touch the pins because this is just polycarbonate, right, or acrylic or something. You can see that blade plug bouncing up and down if I do that, right? And it's making contact with those pins. So what you would do essentially is just press your blade plug down, lock it down with your blade retention screw, and that's going to make contact with that main chassis. Now, alternatively, if you're going to use a blade or 2 blades, you just take this out. You take your 1-inch blade, you put it in, and again, you can see the mark on my blade because I use this for measuring, but you can see that mark kind of bouncing up and down. So you would just press your blade down, lock it down with your blade retention screw, and that's what holds that as well. All right, and so then when you're done, you can just take it out. Sometimes it's easier to just pop it out like that and it comes right out. So if you just want to use 1 blade in this guy and then have the other blade or the other side have a blade plug, you can do that. If you don't want any shine through on the side that you're not going to use, you don't even have to put this in and you won't get any shine through. So you have a few options there, and these are identical. They can be put in on any side. All right, these guys right here. But let's go ahead. We're going to take the side back off that has the perforated holes for sound venting. We're going to unscrew those, or this piece rather. Unscrew it all the way off. You can, at this point, grab this and pull it out. If you feel like it's too tight, you can give it a small push from here, but I find that it pulls out fine just like that. All right, let's throw a battery in this guy. So spring side, negative side of your battery. Snaps in there nice and tough. We can come over here and flip our kill switch. So I've just got the crystal pulsing when the saber is off. And even though I put a real quartz crystal in here, probably for Randy, I'm just going to design him a crystal that he could have printed in either resin or like a clear PLA, so that he could slide it right in there and it will lock down. So yours might look a little bit different than this. This happens to be a real quartz crystal. All right, and so we'll hit power. You know, auxiliary right here. The crystal does react to it. And then we've got twist off. Now, of course, you're not going to see that in the handle, but that's okay. Now that we've got that on, the crystal is on a timer. So on this particular one, it's timed. If you don't turn on the saber right away, the crystal will turn off so it doesn't kill your battery. But we've got our battery in. We've got the saber turned on, or the chassis turned on. We're going to come over here. We're going to line up the groove in the chassis with the switches, and we're just going to push it all the way in. All right, so once it's all the way in, it will stop because it butts up against this side. We can come over here and grab this guy and put it on, twist it all the way down until it's nice and tight. Now we could operate this guy from right here. That's power right here. Back here is auxiliary. Now, of course, you're not getting any light. So we will put this on. I'll do this real quick and then I'll put it into the ring so that you could see it all lit up in the ring. But just to give you an idea of, you put that on, you want to take one of these, slide it in, take your time, it'll go right there. All right, you could, for a sandy check, you can feel it bounce. We're gonna take our blade plug. I'll just hold it down for now. Actually, let's lock it down because I got to put these screws in anyway. All right, let's put these blade retention screws in so I don't want to lose them. I thought I lost it, but thankfully it was magnetized to the tip of my, yeah, you want to be super careful with these. They are tiny. All right, so we're going to take our blade plug. We're going to hold it down with the thumb. Come in here and lock it down. All right. All right, it's all locked down. So now when we hit power, we should get some shine through in our blade plug. Just like that, right? So we'll go ahead and take that out for now. Just loosen that a little bit. You don't got to take it all the way out. Get that blade plug out of there. We'll take this piece off and we'll start assembling it onto the ring. All right, so I got a short blade here because we're going to fire that up too, but we'll just push this out. You want to have this be the last thing that you put in. All right, so it's not making any pressure against the pins until you have this locked all the way down. So we'll put all these pieces over here. Bring the ring back in right here. And before I get too far, let's go ahead and throw that other blade retention screw into the other side so I don't lose it either. Just enough to put it in. All right, so when you're putting this in, everything is locked down here. I'm going to slide this right into the middle, just like that. Grab a piece. Now, it does matter which of these go on to which, but for the sake of this demo, you know, we're just going to slap it on there and turn the saber on. But you will want to pay attention to which one of these goes on what side, because that's how these get clocked properly. So let's see if, you know, by chance I get lucky. I got a 50-50 shot here. You do want to get this past that O-ring, which can be kind of tough, so just take your time. Push it past the O-ring. Even if you want to take this out, push this past the O-ring. Get those threads about even right there. We'll bring our core back in. We'll start screwing it together. Careful with these edges, they're a little sharp. This could take you a moment, but just have some patience. All right, for now we got that locked down. We're gonna take this other piece. Let me move these pieces out of the way. All right, we're gonna take this other piece right here. We're gonna do the same thing over here. We're gonna push it in. You wanna take your time and get past that O-ring because it is in there pretty tough. And start screwing this down. into this guy. All right. You can feel when it makes contact right away because it just has a little bit more pressure. And you see how I'm not paying attention and I hit that piece. So careful there. Little sharp. No biggie though. So we'll screw this all the way down till it's tight. And as you're screwing these into the main core, you kind of want to make sure that your core piece right here is facing up and it's lined up with the ring. That's how you get the look here, right? Like you don't want your box and your greebly here facing down. That wouldn't look right. So just kind of hold it in the middle. Make sure everything is aligned, right? It's aligned up top. It's aligned with the ring. Everything looks good. We'll take these and we'll throw it on. This one doesn't quite align with my core. So let me see if I got the wrong one of these on the wrong side. Or I didn't tighten it up enough, which is also a possibility. So that probably just looks like I didn't tighten it up enough, which is fine for now. But you will want to pay attention to that. It matters which one of these goes on which side. And of course it matters which one of these correspond to these, right? Because once these are all screwed in right, you want it looking like that. That opening, that cutout is in line with your control box and everything is aligned like that. If you do screw it down all the way though, you're gonna need a tool to get it out. So that's kind of the reason why I'm not doing that. But we'll take that out for now. We're gonna take one of these. We're gonna put it in this side, all right? Just take your time with it, get it all the way in there. It'll go all the way down. I'm gonna take a blade plug and put it in this side. And I'm gonna lock my blade retention screw down. All right, so I keep that blade plug in there. So that side is all locked in with a blade plug. Again, if we turned it on, you can see that shine through. So that side is good. All right, now for this side, we're gonna put one of these in. Get it all the way in there. Take an actual blade, push it down on the pins, and lock down the blade retention screw. All right. Now, when you have this all aligned properly, once you lock that down, you would want to take these guys, slide it over your blade, and slide it onto here, and that would hide your blade retention screw, and it would finish the look of the saber. All right. And when we hit power, so we've got a full blade light up over here. This is a test blade, but it's set up for a full-length blade. And then on this side, you know, you've got your blade plug action. Auxiliary. Power. You know, to play your soundtracks, a long press on the power. And all the sound is coming out of here. So another long press to turn that off. All right, and then this just has my sound font on it for now, but of course, if you wanted to go to another one, you would just tap auxiliary. Apologize. And hit power, right? And we got our blade light up. Again, over here. Some good flash on clash. And of course, I'm sorry, that was blaster bolt deflex, not blade lockup. Blade lockup is holding the auxiliary button down and hitting the saber. And we've got our blade lockup right there. And then if you prefer twist off, pretty heavy guy. So just like that. So what I'm gonna do is I'll just break this down real quick because I gotta break it down anyway. We'll take these off. I'm gonna loosen up first my blade, right? Take the blade out. Put that off to the side. We'll flip it over here and we'll take the, whoops, sorry about that. We'll take the blade plug out. All right, put that again off to the side, just like that. Grab the core, start unscrewing here. All right. Try not to cut myself this time, so. And then you can just kind of wiggle that out. When you wiggle that out, this piece will come out with it. All right, so just be careful with that. Put that off to the side. We'll flip it around and do the same thing over here. Few turns. Now it's starting to come out. It'll pop out. It's got this guy. You can just press it with your finger and it'll come out the other side. All right, we'll put that off to the side. Bring our core out of the ring. We'll put the ring back over here. Now remember, when we're going to take the chassis out, we want to do it from the one that has the sound venting. So that's this guy over here. Or the side opposite of this greebly, if you happen to want to match these up. All right, so it comes out the opposite side of this greebly. So we'll unscrew this. You can either push it out from here or just grab it from here and pull it out. We'll turn it on real quick. And we'll kill it from the kill switch. And it kills power like it should. All right, and I made this battery compartment pretty tight. So I use the back of my pair of tweezers, or if you have a Lego removal tool or something, you can just pop it out just like that. But that is basically the chassis setup for the Watto's Junkyard and Phoenix Props Grand Inquisitor. Thanks.